name's Skepta, also known as HAY, cause if I got P's, I'm happy. These MCs are happy with a G, but I'm gonna keep building up B. Till the government have to put a bullet in my boy, better no T. When are these niggas gonna see? These MCs ain't the same as me. I had a grime hit in 2003. God gave me a body and blessed it. You see my fingers, they make dumpy. Private caller, DTI, top producer, boss Eskimo, fucking with a T. My two lips said, you don't wanna see a nigga on the scene. Go on then, what you mean, what you mean? Their fingers and lips are the stinking of green. Always been, how they wanna hate on Shower Man. Rude boy, you see the hype on these MCs are getting old. How many units have they sold? Never go platinum, never go gold. When I make a tune, it's totally cold. When I make a tune, it's totally mean. Spit so sick, my face might turn green. How can he ever be the best in the scene when he's still trying to make a better tune than fucking with the team? You don't wanna see me on the scene. Last thing you hear is a bang and a scream. Better match man want me on their team, cause they know from a bus a shot heads are coming up. I put a bullet in your beam, bullet in the cane roll, bullet in the lean. Put on the safety, switch off the beam. Bad 'em up, bad 'em up, bad 'em up one.
Yeah, could do. Wow, absolutely stunning. Stony. Bring the goggles. It is chilly. I don't believe all of the reviews and stuff. But it's cold out. It's so clear under here. Yeah, unreal. There's nothing here, but it is like crystal clear.
Horsies. And there's Raph. I don't know if you can see him. There.
It's just massive. It's just massive.
Holy shit. It's insane.
we're going to go over the trade that I took on the Thursday the 13th session of February. I've gone into bar replay because it's been like a week since, but I've just been travelling and not been able to record. Like, done like 12-hour driving days and whatever. So, but anyway, let's get into the trade. So, pre-market we had CPI or PPI data news. Big news, as we can see, we had a huge wick up that left a data high. We didn't leave a data low, but we did create these stacked hourly lows down here, which I've marked out with this line. And then, yeah, there's some sell-side liquidity further down here, but I've not marked that out. So yeah, we got the data high, which wasn't taken, left a little stacked internal high here. We've got an hourly draw on liquidity here, and an hourly draw on liquidity here. We've got a 1 hour bearish fair value gap that is yet to be broken through. So we've repriced into it and then came back out of it, as we can see. And then we've also got this 15 minutes, which has held really nicely. As we can see, it's not even been tapped into yet at this point. So if we just drop down to the 1 minute, I'm just going to run through kind of the thought process that I took. So if we go through here, yeah, here we go. We can see we just consolidated pre-market until we got this candle here, marked the open, and then we absolutely displaced up through here. At this point in time, there was already a high time frame SMT. I believe ES had failed to take a high, which NQ had, and then NQ also comes and takes this high, and we can see that we absolutely displaced down. So technically on the high time frame we've swept liquidity. On the hourly we've not yet inversed this bearish fair value gap, and we've just inversed this huge displacement move. So I'm like, okay, I'm thinking we're going to be bearish. You know, this also could be considered an AMD. So accumulation here, and then we distribute up here. We manipulate up here because there's a higher time frame SMT, and then we distribute perhaps to the downside down here to these stacked lows. That doesn't happen. As we can see, we start rejecting from the 15 minutes fair value gap, and if we jump onto the 5 minute, we can actually see that we didn't create any 5 minute bearish fair value gap on the way down, so there's no real reason to continue low. If we go on the 5 minute, we are respecting the 15 minute bullish fair value gap. So at this point I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. Here I was potentially thinking, you know, this could be a short. We've retraced into OTE, but again, there's no 5 minute, and I like when market is moving very barcoded on the 5 minute, it's best to wait for the first presented 5 minute fair value gap for me, so you can work off inversions. So at this point we're just waiting. And then, yeah, I'm still waiting. So at this point we've come and swept internally again, but we've kind of inversed this entire leg, and now the new candle has printed on the hourly. So we've maintained bullish structure, but now on the hourly we can see that this candle has now closed, and then this candle has now opened. So this hourly candle close inverses the bearish fair value gap. So we can now bring this out further and relabel this an IFVG. So we've got the 15 minute held, we've swept out this accumulation liquidity, and now we've on the hourly inversed a high time frame fair value gap. So to me, even though we've come all the way up here and swept internal, at this point I'm bullish. So even if I have to catch it long all the way up here, perhaps targeting this, I'm fine with that, because on the high time frame we're definitely bullish. So I'm continuing to watch, and then all of a sudden we get this huge wick move down. And to me, that's a rejection wick. If we retrace down and we closed a huge body down here, then I'd be thinking, you know, then you start to reevaluate whether we're going to be reversing now. But we didn't. And to me, this is a really good sign that we're going to continue higher, because we've wicked down. Prices come all the way down here, but instantly rejected and been brought back up and closed above here. And then the next candle closes within this range. So yeah, that's one thing. And then if we go on to the 5 minute as well, what do we have here? We have the first presented 5 minutes fair value gap. So we go on to the 1 minute now. We've got a slightly clearer picture. We've got the 50-minute fair value gaps held. We've inversed a 1 hour fair value gap. We've just repriced into a 5 minute fair value gap, as well as OTE of this price leg here. So I'm thinking, okay, this is extremely bullish, with the wick stuff that I just mentioned coming down into here and then rejecting right up. That's like perfect for me. So I see this 1 minute bearish fair value gap here. And then I'm continuing to watch, and at this point, if this gets inversed, I'm willing to get in. So there we go, the inversion comes. I take my long, and my first PT is here, and I take a stop just about here, nice and tight below the bearish fair value gap. Because otherwise, you know, the true stop that would invalidate my trade would be down here. But realistically, if we inverse this and reprice all the way down here, then that's not going to be a true inversion. I want to keep it nice and tight. And this first TP is actually untouched data highs from the day before. And they're stacked highs, so there's 2 highs and it's data highs, so huge high probability drawn liquidity. And we've got this liquidity pool as well. So I jump in, and then we can see price capitulates nicely. We hit my first take profit, and then my second take profit I'm aiming to take off up here. We can see price starts moving a little bit choppy, and we actually come up really close and we just start accumulating sideways. And at this point it's like, yeah, for like nearly 5 in the morning, because I'm 2 hours ahead of the price that it says at the bottom of the screen. Just because of the time difference. So it's like 5 in the morning. I've been up now for like 2 hours because I took a quite a late entry. So what I do is I manage my stop and just put it under this low, because I think, you know, okay, we've repriced into this fair value gap. We're so close to this. You know, if we come below here, I'm fine to be stopped out in profit, well in profit, for a 4RR trade or whatever it is. And we can see then I do eventually get stopped out not long after. But if I'd have maybe left my stop at break even, we can see the price comes all the way down, accumulates for a little bit, and then I believed it rallied up at some point. Okay, maybe no, maybe it didn't. We'll just see. Okay, yeah, it did. So no, yeah, so regardless, I would have been stopped out. I would have been stopped out at break even, or I would have been stopped out for a loss if I'd have left it. So to me, you know, getting stopped out up here I'm fine with that. You know, it wasn't technically a point where my trade would have been invalidated, but I just got lucky with it. I thought, you know, if we've come this close to the draw on liquidity and we're not going to take it, then, you know, I want to be out soon if I'm wrong. So, yeah, there we go. And my win for this trade was a 328, but I took a little $24 loss. I can't remember how. But yeah, really great trade. Bang.
A little post-trade paddle boarding and kayaking. Got the goggles on, but yeah, not much going on under here. About to jump off this paddleboard. Where do we go? Left side or right side?
Right.
Right, alright. Lovely stuff. Let's go.
Holy shit!
Crystal clear. Just unreal. Come on! Bang! Just got myself a hole in one on this hilly one here.
See what we can pull out. I'm gonna absolutely hold it.
Wah wah.
Sauna, steam room, cold plunge.
It's so cold.
Oh, I'm getting a sore now.
This is a trade recap for the Friday the 14th session on ES that I took. So I've just put it into bar replay. As mentioned before, this is like nearly a week on because I was travelling. But yeah, here we go. So we've got on the 4 hour here, this huge bullish Fair Value gap. We've got a high time frame 4 hour and 1 hour draws on liquidity down at the bottom. We've had pre-market news which left this data low. And then we've got this 15-minute buy-side liquidity with a 15-minute bearish Fair Value gap. This is 15-minute buy-side on ES, but on NQ, it was left as a hourly buy-side liquidity level. So to me, I'm treating it basically the same. It's going to be a strong liquidity level because it's resting within this Fair Value gap, and it's an hourly on the correlating pair. So, you know, to me, that's good. So if we just kind of let the chart rip a bit, we can see the market opens there, and we just kind of sit in this weird little range until we open up this Fair Value gap. We don't get any tap into it, and we finally run the buy side liquidity level. We can see price is still really choppy on ES. So here we go. To me, I was almost bullish at this point because if we go on to the 5 minute, we can see, you know, we're holding extremely bullish this whole time. I was expecting it to be a bullish day, to be honest. There wasn't much showing it was going down. I wasn't too sure what was going to be happening in price, really. So yeah, we can see we come up, take that, we displace back down, tap into this Fair Value gap and continue up. So I thought, okay, this bearish Fair Value gap is going to be inversed and we're going to keep running. You know, that's fine. There wasn't really a huge weekly profile that I could play off as well. Because like Tuesday had reversed and come back up and then went. So it wasn't like a classic expansion week. It was a weird week to me. Yeah, and we can see that the macro brought next to nothing about. I mean, this was the macro and we just chop sideways and then come back up. At this point, this is where I'm starting to get my bullish bias form. So we can see that the 15-minute closes and we respect this bearish Fair Value gap. We've swept what is an hourly liquidity pool on NQ and only a 15-minute on ES, but still going to be a strong liquidity pool. And then on the 5 minute, the first 5 minute Fair Value gap of the session has opened up. And we can see here, this is the 5 minute bearish Fair Value gap. I'm just going to move these two across. So we've come up, taken the 15-minute buy-side liquidity, or, you know, hourly. We've manipulated internally. We respected the 15-minute, opened up the first 5 minute Fair Value gap of the session, which is bearish, and we've tapped back into it. So to me, this is great. I'm like, okay, this is a strong sign of bearishness. And we can see that we get a strong leg down out of it after pulling back and tapping equilibrium of the recent price leg. And we've inversed kind of any of these internal 1 minute Fair Value gaps as well. So I'm like, okay, fine. I slap a short down here after kind of getting this change in the state of delivery candle out of this, and I leave my stop pretty much about here, and my first TP is this low, which is a 5 minute low. I'm playing a 5 minute model, so my low hanging fruit is going to be a 5 minute low. But we can see this isn't great risk to reward. It's only 0.86, but my scaling points are this data low and then this final hourly liquidity pool. So I was fine with the first low-hanging fruit being kind of negative RR, because I was fairly confident in the data low being taken, which even if we account for that, even if I take off most here, I'm still going to get a positive expectancy risk to reward. So we can see that the 1 minute then holds again. So to me, this would have been the actual best sniper entry, but you never know that's going to come again. So we come up, retrace into that. And you could have entered like that, kept your stop nice and tight. And that's, an actual 1 RR entry for the low-hanging fruit. But, sometimes if you wait for another confirmation or another whole model, you're going to miss the trade. So I'm fairly happy that I got in that soon. And we can see that I never faced any real drawdown that was against the bias of the trade. So you can see price then capitulates, but we get this kind of bad wickage, so we wick out my first take profit, and then we're getting these bullish legs up. At this time I've already moved my stop, I believe, to this high, and then I believe I may have been stopped out. I'm just going to have to check my notes quickly. Position open first TP 57. Okay, yeah, so I was stopped out here, which is fine. I took off a little bit here and then left my stop at the invalidation point for this model. And then I saw price doing this, and what NQ was actually doing, NQ was manipulating internally and an hourly draw on liquidity, which is, as we can see, this one. So we failed to sweep this on ES, as well as failing to sweep internal. So there's kind of this, triple SMT from these highs down to here. I saw that happening. I saw, we're going to soup this 5 minute retrace. I don't even think on the 5 minute we were disrespecting the we kind of disrespected the body of it on the 5 minute, but a decent trade nonetheless, I would think. Maybe enter off the 5 minute inversion there, and then we can see bugger. Come back here, price then continues the sell model that I actually predicted, and I'd recognised at kind of this point where we're coming back up that this low was perhaps unachievable, so I put the rest of my take profits here. But when I got stopped out, I left my buy orders on, my take profit buy orders for the sell. And we can see the price comes down, not quite there, and I get tapped in. So I'm out of my whole position because I've been closed, but I've left 2 buy contracts here, and I get tapped in. But luckily, very luckily, NQ fails to take this data low, and we can see we just absolutely start reversing, which is brilliant. And then I'm not awake at this point, I'm sleeping sound as a baby, not wise to anything that's going on here. And then I eventually wake up somewhere around here, I forget where, around 7:30 on here, I believe. I think I close out about here and make $100 basically. So my first trade, I took a tiny take profit but left my stop in loss because that was the invalidation area for the trade. Got stopped out. I took like a tiny $24 loss or something on it. And then this trade, well, not a trade, but this accidental gem of an entry at the soup of this low with an SMT, and then I close it, you know, however many hours later, like 3 hours later, is $100. So that leaves me like, I don't know, $60, $70 in the day. So yeah, that was a nice little present to wake up to. To me, this was a pretty great model for a trade. Just, yeah, market conditions were just not great. But yeah, completely fine with it. And when I woke up and saw the trade that was on, I just closed it instantly. I didn't bother trying to manage it, or, you know, that's not money that technically deserves to be mine, so I wasn't going to try and manage it as a trade or anything. I just take it off. So yeah, good habits. I didn't have a bias for this day. I've always got the thank God it's Friday bias in mind, because on Fridays, you know, if price has been moving up all week, it tends to retrace inside of the range just because the futures market close and you've got to be out of your positions. So yeah, so decent trade, good model, good risk, and ended up positive on the day accidentally. So yeah, banger.
Enemy, but I've got to be my own best friend. I need to take the advice I've been giving to them. Man, I'm on a low frequency, I can't see them again. I'm on a high vibration, feeling blessed, grateful. Them man are thirsty, need hydration. Please don't compare me to them, that's a big violation. Man, I got no direction and it's showing. See how the game can trick you without you even knowing. We're living in the dark, but I keep on glowing. My mum gave me the seeds I'm sowing. My dad gave me the tools and the water to keep them growing. So when they tell us to go home, fam, I know where I'm going.
We've been growing apart, and through the walls, and I can show you the